Lake effect snow continues for Michigan for the next several days. We're going to take an updated look at your forecast in terms of snow amounts. Also, take a peek at the system that is tracking what looks to be to our south. We're going to compare models and give you guys the update on that system, and also take a peek into the long term and maybe answering the question of when will Southeast Michigan get snow. I'm Ryan, Michigan Storm Chasers here. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you like this content. We do daily videos like this every single day here for Michigan. We also have regional accounts, Indiana Chasing Network, and also Great Lakes Storm Chasing Network. We also do out-of-state content as well. Let's go ahead and dive into the model. So the image I have pulled up here is a short-term model called the HRRR. It goes out 48 hours in advance. We're going to see lake effect snow bands continue today for West Michigan, up in the UP as well. We will have a breakdown here in the western part of Michigan, just some light snow showers here. The heavier bands today for the day on Thursday will be centered up here in the UP, western UP, Munising area, Sault Ste. Marie, your typical snow belts up in the UP, but northern lower and also western lower get a little bit of a break today. That will ramp back up during the day on Friday. This is Thursday evening right here currently. Let's go ahead and run this through Thursday night into Friday morning. We see lake effect continuing for the UP, and then we see a response back down here right about Friday morning around sunrise, 5, 6, 7 a.m. Lake effect snow cranks right back up here for western lower Michigan. Through the day on Wednesday, through the day on Friday, that will continue through much of the day before a little bit of a break perhaps for your Saturday, as this model that goes all the way through Friday. We're now at Friday evening. We start seeing a little bit of a tapering off response there on the model here as we get closer to Saturday morning. And by the time Saturday at 7 a.m. rolls around, we're back to light snow. The western UP doesn't have anything. Central UP is clear. Perhaps some snow showers still ongoing up there in the eastern half of the UP, but then also western lower tapering off there with lighter snowfall. Updated guidance here in terms of accumulation. Now, we do have a forecast out. Go ahead and overlay that real quick here for Michigan. The forecast that we had out called for 2 to 4 there in West Michigan, 6 to 12 up there by Gaylord, 10 to 18 plus up there in the UP in spots. Updated forecast looks to be on track with exception to one area. I'll go ahead and dive right back into this. HRRR model, same model, showing you accumulating snowfall here. Now, keep in mind, when we made this forecast yesterday, we didn't have that guidance into that Friday time period, but now we do. We're seeing a response here. Let's go ahead and zoom this in. Here's today. We're seeing some light snow showers possible across South Central Michigan. Heavier snow up here in the central and eastern part of the UP areas. But as we move into Friday here, go ahead and get this through Thursday evening into Friday morning. Here we go into Friday. We're seeing localized bands of snow kick back up here, northern lower, and also keep an eye on the western part of lower Michigan by Muskegon and Grand Rapids areas. This is Friday at 7 a.m. Let's go ahead and move this into Friday afternoon. There's our lake effect banding that continues to crank up for West Michigan. We're getting localized swaths on this model down here of 4 to 8 inches. We'll likely have to adjust our forecast here to account for that, but I just want to keep that in mind. We did call for 2 to 4 with an isolated 3 to 6 possible on our forecast. Latest model guidance is suggesting higher amounts are possible, if not likely, for that West Michigan area. Now, keep in mind, localized bands of snow are very, or should I say these snow bands here, lake effect snow bands are very localized in nature. So again, we can't emphasize this enough that 5 miles up the road could have 1 inch, you could have 6 inches, and your neighbors to the south could have nothing at all. They're very, very localized. So not everybody's going to see 6 inches, but we do have potential for these localized bands of 4 to 8 inches in West Michigan. Further north, though, in the UP, we still have responses here, 8 to 12 plus inches of additional accumulation. Over here in the eastern part of the UP, Sault Ste. Marie, Munising areas, you guys are getting plus 24 inches more of accumulation. So forecast appears to be on track for you guys in the UP. Just wanted to make the quick note that West Michigan will likely need to upgrade here for localized areas up to about 4 to 8 inches of accumulation for localized areas. Hope that answers your questions. Lake effect snow should taper off Saturday. Response is possible throughout Saturday and Sunday, but looking at models currently, we do think it's going to start tapering off around that Saturday, Sunday timeframe. That ushers in our next big system to watch. We've been tracking this for several days now. This is day 3 of tracking. We're going to have a sample data coming in tomorrow afternoon and evening for you guys. So last day of guesswork, so to speak, but we are increasing confidence in impacts as far as timing, impacts, and locations go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the European, the American, and also the Canadian model in terms of this system. So This has been well advertised across social media. We're going to watch an area of low pressure out into the plains right about here in Oklahoma. We see it take shape across portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado areas. We're going to be seeing that move up our direction here in the next several days, reaching us by Sunday. So go ahead and run this through the time frame. Here we go. We're going to see it develop here. Here is Saturday night into Sunday morning. That advances into the Midwest Great Lakes region, but it keeps a pretty easternly track, and that is due to this high pressure that is sitting over the high plains. That high pressure is forcing cold air down, but also keeping the system from going further north. So what that does is a usual Colorado low like this will usually kind of take a little bit of a northward turn through our region. But this one, because of this high pressure that's sitting right here over the high plains, it's not going to be able to take that northerly track. That should keep this system just off to our south. If this high pressure weakens, we could have a little bit further of a north track, but if it stays the same here, we're going to likely miss this system to the south. But anyway, Sunday afternoon here at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're seeing snow here for our friends in Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri. And down here in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, Kentucky, and parts of Missouri, we're getting a major ice storm with this system. Go ahead and move this through to Sunday evening. Here is Sunday at 10 p.m. If we zoom back in here to Michigan, we are literally just missing the system by about 50 miles, according to the European model. But I will highlight for our friends who are watching or know people who live down further south, especially central and southern Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and also Kentucky areas where you see that heavier, darker blue and those pink colors. That is the area that we expect the highest impacts for both heavy snow and also freezing rain potential there if you live in the pink or close to the pink areas. That's the European. Let's look at the Canadian model. The Canadian model is a little bit more aggressive in terms of a northerly movement here. But here we go through the model or through the time frame here. We have lake effect snow there in Michigan. There's our system off developing in the plains, Oklahoma area. This is going to move up our direction. The Canadian is a little bit further north here. The high pressure is a little bit weaker up here. So keep an eye on that. That's why the system is kind of trending a little bit further north on the Canadian. But as we move into Sunday here, we're seeing this system that literally scrapes the south part of Michigan with the Canadian model. So this track is going to shift north and south here for the next couple of model runs. It's going to do so probably into that Saturday time frame. Exact shifting though, and exact track is going to have to come down to where this thing sets up. Southern Michigan, you may have a shot at getting a few inches of snow out of this, but I will say the odds of that happening right now, I'm going to trend toward the unfavorable side. GFS is loading in currently this morning. Let's see if it's loaded out yet. Let me refresh this page here and see if I can get it to pop back in before we move on. Yeah, okay, cool. So we have a GFS model that could be loaded out here. Let's go ahead and pop this in. So the GFS model is showing that high pressure a little bit between the Canadian and European, but the GFS here continues that system on honestly kind of agrees with the Canadian model here, where we're seeing the brand new GFS model gives South Michigan a chance for some snowfall here on the latest model guidance. Now, I will say with this, take with a grain of salt. It's one model run, but we are seeing that northerly trend on the models. But I do think the European, as of this time frame, has the best handle on it. I do think the bulk of this storm is going to miss Michigan to the south. But again, if you're in South Michigan, perhaps a few inches of accumulation look to be a possibility, pending any more major shifts. And again, with this system, we are looking at the West Coast currently as that system moves on shore. By the time Friday evening, tomorrow evening rolls around, we'll be able to sample that data, and that is when data becomes really solid and a solid forecast can be made. So tomorrow's video, we'll be able to lock this down a lot better for you guys in terms of expectations for us, if any impacts are expected here in Michigan. With that being said, going back into the future, we are seeing a response of cold air. This is based out of Detroit here. Take a look at this. We're going to be seeing 25, 22, 22 all throughout the time period here through the month of January. We're not going to see days above freezing for the next 10 to 15 days here. We have one day, maybe 2 days close to freezing, January 13th, Monday, and January 14th, Tuesday. That could be close to freezing, but overall temperatures are going to be solidly below freezing. So any snow that does fall and is out there on the roads or out there in the grassy surfaces will stick for the next 10 days at least. With that being said, I have one more thing to show you guys in terms of Southeast Michigan snowfall. This is what we call a chiclet chart. These are awesome. We love these as data freaks, weather nerds. We love it. Basically, on the left side of this chart, we have ensemble members. So a model ran several times over. We have 50 of them to be exact, going bottom to top. So model number 00 down here, model number 50 up there. Each chiclet within this chart is according to a model on this side and also the date down here. So Thursday today, all the way out to Friday, January 17th on the right side of your screen. So this is indicating snowfall in the middle of this here. So we're seeing a response of snow roughly around that January 11th to 13th time frame here, and that's going to be the time frame to watch next for the Southeast Michigan area for some accumulating snowfall. So keep an eye on that period. This is again model numbers showing you inches of accumulation with according to the model inches of snow according to each date and model number. On the left side is your model number, on the bottom is your date. So we're getting that January 11th time frame. I know it's confusing. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you guys, but overall, trust me on this. We're looking to that January 11th to January 13th time frame for our next potential accumulating snow for Southeast Michigan. With that being said, I'm going to end the video here on a shout out to our sponsor today. We do have Lifestyle Exteriors based out of the Lansing area. They do a lot of exterior needs for your home. 989-854-3055 is your contact. And thank you to Lifestyle Exteriors for sponsoring our videos and helping us keep operations rolling here at Michigan Storm Chasers. With that being said, I will catch you guys tomorrow on another update video here on YouTube.